So just to introduce myself quickly, so I run this firm studio Linedesign from Delhi. I've authored this book, Why Industrialists Fail to Build Their Dreams, because we all work in the industrial domain and people tend to miss out on the finer details. So this was my endeavor to bring it onto a platform so that where we lose out what is the most important nuance of doing things. On the green sustainability fronts as well, I am a member of IGBC and ASSOCHAM GEM being a green certifying agency. I am the chairman of the committee where we wrote the warehousing rating programs and the industrial rating programs. So I had that committee, and we've done few platinum rated projects, gold rated projects, over 22, 23 years of practice, delivered more than 20, it says, but 25 million square feet as of today with more than 200 projects. So my today's topic was modularity and context. So as we talk of modular constructions, steel is being used extensively. We are all here in this platform where we talk of steel, and steel biggest advantage is that we can do modular construction, we can do faster constructions. It allows us to expand quickly, it allows us to build in a faster manner. But at the same time, being architects, we have also realized that the pace at which we are building today, we are somewhere leaving out the context of those projects towards the local environments, towards the local requirements. Like today, the projects come in to us, and the brief is very common in all of them. Especially a lot of government is building a lot of infrastructure today, and the speed at which we are building, that does not allow that much of time to look at things, create the specific briefs, create the understandings. We have worked on similar ideas in the past on modular constructions, and today we are showcasing 3 of the airport projects which we did over the last couple of years. They were located in Darbhanga, Chitrakoot, and Mayurpur. So our design brief for these projects was very straight and simple as the RFPs came in, and it was a EPC based contract. My friends from EPAC are here, and they were doing the projects. They engaged us and commissioned us to design these airports. The brief was very similar in all 3 of them, that the building should be approximately 1,500 square meters within a very tight budget. Different locations, different context, different site conditions, but that was not really coming out of the brief. It just said 1,500 square meters. And a budget was given. So we had, once we started designing, it was given to us as a commission for 3 projects, and it was a basic understanding which was created that all 3 will be very similar modules, and as we go along, we can just design one and then repeat the other 3, because it is under Udan 2 scheme by the government, and these are modular airports which have to come up and be commissioned in a very limited time frame. So the design had to be coherent. But when we got onto this, so this is the first airport which I'll just, these are the 3 airports rather, Darbhanga, Chitrakoot, and Mayurpur. 3 airports, 3 different contexts, 3 different site conditions, 3 different topographies, different soil conditions, different interrelations to the city side, to the airport side. At the same time, there was a request to have the modularity to expand in the future. But the brief was exactly the similar. So we were fighting within ourselves how to create that modularity so that we would be able to design a module, design a system which is repetitive. Because that was the basic idea behind it. So ultimately what we came up with, of course, there was some changes which were made to the areas and steel which was used and quantum. So basically it was to be in the range of 1500, but if you see the difference here, so quantum of steel was all directly impacting the cost. So this was done in larger quantum, lesser quantum of steel that was taking much more quantum of steel, even if the area was less. So that was the result of the site context which came in. So if we talk of specifically of the first project, that is the Darbhanga airport. So the city was on one side, the airport on the other. So here the portal frames which we could erect and design were very straightforward, and that gave us the advantage because I'll just go to the plans. So this is a typically airport is very basic, and the brief was very clear that there will be a departure lounge, there will be a common set of services and the airport and the arrival area. And it should also allow for expansion as and when the traffic grows, and it might happen in 1 year, 2 years, or may take even longer. So we started setting out the building in the context of the site plan, and we designed it accordingly. So if you can see the frames, they were very straightforward frames, and it was expandable. It was a very economical structure which was designed here. The airport side, the air side is on the top, the city side is in the bottom, and we had both sides canopies, and those were pretty much the basic requirements. And the aesthetics were also being governed by the local department when they were connected. So they all had their different expectations and aspirations as far as the glass facades were concerned, as far as their look would come out to be. So that also had to be addressed in conjunction. So this is a few pictures of the finished airport as it began. So this is one of the busiest airports today in these sectors, and one of the most in-demand airport because there's a lot of traffic happening there. And now they have even started on the expansion. I'll just show you. So this is where the site was initially. I think. So this left side is the existing airport which came in, and now the expansion is happening. So it had to be designed in such a manner that it could easily be expanded without disturbing the operations. So the setting out of the building was in that context itself, that where the proposed land will be, how we will be building in future, so that it does not impact the expansion processes and future which will come in. So always we were being pulled around with the pricing, budgets, delivery schedules, because this being remote locations, the site had to be finished in a limited time. The construction was going on in between the pandemic period. So, and this is how it is being now expanded. So this is the phase 1. And for the phase 2 now, this particular area, which was the arrival lounge, is also being added to the departure lounge. And the departure lounge, because once they started operating, they realized that the departure lounge was the biggest area which was required, and that was falling drastically short. So now, out of the full airport, earlier it was like 60-40. Now it will be like 80% will be the departure areas and only 20% will be the arrival areas. So just the corner, extreme corner right is for the arrivals, where instead of one belt, they'll be putting up another 2 belts there. This belt will move to the corner, and then we'll have a much larger departure lounge, and the similar facade will get expanded and repeated and extended there. So this was one. Coming to the next airport, the Chitrakoot airport. So here the total site was different. The facade and costings had to be kept in the same domain, but the orientation was totally different. Now we had a linear building. So earlier building was horizontally expandable. This is a linear expansion. Okay. So this was again but we were again space crunched, because from the city side it had to be both ways, that the departure and the arrival had to be on the city front. The front given was much smaller. The roof was not really, the roof directions were not conducive, and we had to even plan for the expandability. So this resulted in a costlier and a not so economical structure, but then we did it. This is the third airport where we are. This is the third airport. So this took the longest time because they wanted a very different aesthetic, and the expectation of the local department officials were very different. And so this particular fascia had to be designed just to cater and cover up the different slope which was not in the direction of the natural gradient of the portals. This was in the other direction, again the airport side and the city side, and the gradient was in a different direction because economy had to be taken into consideration. At the same time, the aesthetics were being demanded by the department officials. So I would like to sum up here, and as Studio Line Design, we want to design responsible, sustainable structures for a better tomorrow. Thank you.